Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramamswari Rajikacharya Shtotarshad Shri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Granth-raj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 10, entitled The Pastimes of Lord Ramachandra, text number 24 till 26. So let's recite 24 together. Tato nishkramya lankaya yatu dana sahasrashah mando darya samam tatra prarudantya upadravan. Tato nishkramya lankaya yatu danya sahasrashah mando darya samam tatra prarudantya upadravan. Tato nishkramya lankaya yatu danya sahasrashah mando darya samam tatra prarudantya upadravan. Tato nishkamya Tato nishkramya lankaya yatu dana sahasrashah mandodarya samam tatra prarudantam upadravan. Tato nishkramya lankaya yatu danya sahasrashah Dana samam tatra arudantam upadravan. Mataji's. Tato nishkramya lankaya yatu danya sahasrashah mandodarya samam tatra prarudantya upadravan. Tato nishkramya lankaya yatu danya sahasrashah mandodarya samam tatra prarudantyam upadravat. Word for word meanings. Tata, thereafter. Nishkramya, coming out. Lankaya, from Lanka. Yatu Dhanya, the wives of the Rakshasas. Sahasrashah, by thousands and thousands. Mandodarya, headed by Mandodari, the wife of Ravana. Samam, with. Tatra, there. Prarudantya, crying in lamentation. Upadravan, came near. Their dead husbands. Translation. Thereafter, all the women whose husbands had fallen in the battle, headed by Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, came out of Lanka, continuously crying. They approached the dead bodies of Ravana and the other Rakshasas. Text 25. Swan swan bandhun parishvajya lakshmaneshu bhirarditan rurudu Suswaram dina ghrantya atmanam. Striking their breasts in affliction because their husbands had been killed by the arrows of Lakshmana, the women embraced their respective husbands and cried piteously in voices appealing to everyone. Text 26. Ha hatasma vayam natha loka ravana ravana kam yaya charanam lanka twadvihina parardita. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O my Lord, O Master, you epitomized trouble for others, and therefore you were called Ravana. But now that you have been defeated, we also are defeated. For without you, the state of Lanka has been conquered by the enemy. To whom will it go for shelter? Purport. Ravana's wife Mandodari and the other wives knew very well how cruel a person Ravana was. The very word Ravana means one who causes crying for others. Ravana continuously caused trouble for others, but when his sinful activities culminated in giving trouble to Sita Devi, he was killed by Lord Ramachandra. That's the end of purport. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Taking blessings from Radha Krishna Prabhu, I'll try to speak on this verse, or these verses from Bhagavatam. So here, 26th verse that we read, which had a purport. Here it says, Ha hatasma vayam natha lok Ravana Ravana. So a person whose name was Ravana, and the meaning of the word Ravana is one who makes everyone cry. So here his wife Mandodari is speaking when Ravana has been killed by Lord Ramachandra. So she's saying that while you were alive, you made everyone cry, and now when you are dead, you are making us cry also. Because as we hear from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam purports, Prabhupada mentions again and again that in Vedic culture it's mentioned in Manu Samhita that women are always under protection of, first of all, the father, and then the husband, and then grown-up sons. So now Mandodari is saying that you, O Ravana, my husband, now you are dead, how will we be protected? So that's why she is crying. And this crying and lamentation of wives on passing away of their husbands is given in different places in Bhagavatam. I think it's 6th or 7th canto, where Yamraj gives his teachings to some wives who were crying when their husband died in a battle. And there it's mentioned that those wives who were crying because they were afraid, they were not letting the cremation of their husband to happen very soon, because they knew that if they cremate their husband, they would have to die with them, because the sati pratha was there. Sati rite, when the wife would actually enter the fire of cremation of the husband. So that was there because Prabhupada mentions the wives were so attached to the husbands and husbands were attached to the wives. So wives were so attached to the husbands that most of them would willingly embrace that fire of that cremation, because that fire would be less burning than the fire of separation. So they were always, they're already feeling the, okay, surround sound. So they were already feeling the fire of separation. So they would willingly actually enter the fire in which the husband was being burned. So that was the original sati rites. But in these days, we don't see that sort of attachment. It's becoming less and less because of the consumer society. We are being trained by the leaders of the society, the marketing people, the psychologists. They are training us to not to be satisfied by one person or one thing. They are actually, it's basically based on greed. They want to sell more and more products,
So they don't want you to be satisfied with one product. And the same mentality, carries forward to relationships also. So if you have a washing detergent, for example, you should not be satisfied with it. There would be a new version of that, a better version. And you have a mobile phone, you should not be satisfied with it. There will be new version every year, right? So it's based on greed. And for example, we don't name any companies, but one mobile company is very popular. And releases new mobiles every year. And the competitors and many other people are saying they haven't actually improved anything in 20 years. The main person who started that mobile phone did a very good job, but from 15-20 years they haven't added like real new feature. They just changed the external design a little bit, make it bigger and smaller, add couple of more cameras, that's it. So it's based on greed. And so what it does to our psychology is we are never satisfied. We are not satisfied. So we want more and more and more. And there's no limit to that greed. We have discussed that saying before, that there's enough in this world for everyone's need. But there is not enough in this world for even one person's greed. So this is the mentality. So we have to actually be satisfied with what we have. So Ravana is a epitome. Here it says that he was kind of lust personified. He had so much lust. He was exploiting women. And then he met his end by the hands of Lord Ramachandra. And this is the story which repeats itself again and again. There would be a person or a group of people who have a lot of lust and greed and power. And then they want to expand their empire of enjoyment. So this has been the story of this material world. We have come to this material world to try to enjoy separately from Krishna, and we want to expand our empire more and more on a small scale or a big scale, but the story is the same. We may think, oh, there was the British Empire, they were trying to capture these different countries. So they were so demoniac at that time. We may think like that. But what is our mentality? We are doing the same thing on a smaller level. If we have power, if we have more power, we will actually do more. We will try to expand more. I remember one devotee many years back, a Grahastha devotee, somewhere, I won't name the devotee or the city. He had a small boy in his arms, maybe 3 or 4 years old. And so I was talking to him. So he said, just see how innocent he looks. I said, yes, he's so innocent, a devotee child, very innocent. And so he said, that the father said, what when he becomes a teenager, what will happen? And he gave this example that if a driver is sitting on a bullock cart or not a horse cart, but maybe a bullock cart, that bullock cart moves very slow. We have seen in India and other countries. So it walks very slow. The bullock will walk very slow. So this devotee was comparing his child to that bullock cart, the driver of the bullock cart. So soul is there in the body, so the driver is there on the cart. So driver is going as fast as the cart can move, the capacity of the cart. But if that driver sits on a Formula 1 car, and if he is able to drive that, he would drive very fast. It's the same driver, it's just the difference of the car. So that devotee was saying, my son is very little now. He looks so innocent. But what when, he has his age and all the capacity to enjoy the material world more, what will happen then? So I'm afraid of that. So this is our situation. We have that living entities in general I'm speaking about. We have this mentality of enjoying. But we may, due to our karma, we may have a less number of possessions or a smaller house, but mentality is enjoying mentality. As soon as we get more, we would like to expand. And what does this expansion mean? We are just expanding our stay, the span of our stay in this material world. Because to go to spiritual world, we have to get rid of all material desires. What's the 7th verse of Shikshashtak? Govinda virahenam jagat shunyam. So we have to see everything in this material world. How does it start? That's the 8th one. Yugaitam nimishena chakshusha praveshaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahename. So until we get that sort of mentality that without Krishna everything is zero, we will actually stay in this world. We can't keep even one small material desire with us. We have to make everything zero if it's not connected to Krishna. So that's a sadhaka's aspiration. That's why we are practicing this bhakti yoga, so that we can get out of this Ravana mentality. So there was this big Ravana who made the whole world cry, but there are so many Ravanas. This is the Ravana demoniac mentality of enjoying. And in 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the divine and demoniac natures, it's mentioned that the demoniac nature, what it does is prabhavanti ugra karmana kshayaya jagato hita. That whatever activity they do to get sense gratification is ugra karma, unbeneficial work. And what does it lead to? Kshayaya jagato ahita. It destroys the whole world, and that's what we are seeing more and more. It's always been there and it will always be there in this material world. That's the story of this material world. That people come and they want to enjoy and they want to exploit those who have less power. And those who have less power, they feel exploited. And they try to increase their power. And when they have more power, they try to exploit others. So that's the story of this world. It's mentioned in 2nd canto, I think. Ahastani sahastanam apadani chatushpadam falguni yatra mahatam jivo jivasya jivanam. Apadani chatushpadam, those living entities, there are 8,400,000 types of species. So some living entities have no legs. So they are the food for those who have 4 legs. Apadani chatushpadam. Phalguni tatra mahatam. The smaller fish is the food for the bigger fish. That's all. That's all. This is the story of material world. This is a relative material world. There is duality. Someone has more power, someone has less power. The person who has more power will gobble the person with less power. That's it. You just imagine a bigger fish trying to swallow a small fish. So this is the story of this world. What do we see in the corporate world? There is a small company, it tries to do some business, then it slowly becomes bigger and bigger, and then there are other small companies. It tries to merge with them. All these mergers are there. It's the same story. Phalguni tatra mahatam. The big fish eats the small fish. There is no competition. And then those who are exploited by more powerful people, they want to increase their power. And sometimes they are able to, based on their karma. And then they repeat the history. Jivo jivasya jivanam. One living entity is food for other living entity. Those who have more power, they will exploit. So human beings have more power, intellectual power, so they can design different weapons and machinery, and they can control all other living entities, up to elephant, whale, because human being has this power of intelligence, and it's misusing that. That higher intelligence is there for Krishna conscious, for developing Krishna conscious knowledge, not for exploiting other living entities. So they misuse it, and what happens? Tato Maushika Bhava. We have heard that story. There was a mouse and went to a sadhu and said, I'm in distress, please help. Why are you in distress? The cat chases me. So what do you want? I want to become a cat. So, okay, gave him the blessings, became a cat. And then the cat came, the dog is chasing me. So what do you want? I want to become a dog. Okay, become a dog. Then again the dog came. So what happened now? The tiger is chasing me. Now what do you want? I want to become a tiger. Okay, he became a tiger. And when he became a tiger, he looked at the sadhu as his breakfast, with his tongue like this. Yeah, that is my yummy breakfast. And the sadhu said, now you want to eat me? I made you the tiger, you want to eat me? Okay, punar mushika bhavat, you become the mouse again. Again, less powerful. So human beings are trying to become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they want to kill God. They can't kill God, but they say there is no God. There is no universal management. I can get what I want. So this is the same story. We want to become bigger and bigger, Like many of us here are from different country. We have come from here. This was the mentality. I think I can say about myself. This is the mentality. We want to get better level of sense gratification, which is available in the Western world, which has, Western countries, which has more GDP, better infrastructure, better standard of enjoyment, sense gratification. And that's why we come here. We want to become bigger and bigger. And now we try to forget God. Forgetting God means trying to kill God. There is no God. We don't want to think about God. We don't have time. Don't have time for God, for service of God, for reading Bhagavad Gita, for reading Bhagavatam. We don't have time because we are busy in sense gratification or attempting to get sense gratification. So what is the difference then between animals and us? Animals are also trying for those 4 things: eating, sleeping, mating, defending. So Prabhupada writes in his purport that a devotee tries for spiritual eating, spiritual defending, spiritual sense gratification, and spiritual shelter. Prabhupada writes that. So that tendency is there to eat. All living entities want to eat. So we should eat prasadam, which is in itself a whole big science mentioned from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam to Chaitanya Charitamrita. If we read and focus on how the importance of prasadam is given, it's amazing. It's not a simple thing to honor prasadam. That's why we say we don't eat prasadam. In one sense, we eat the activities of eating, but spiritual eating means honoring prasadam. So that's what a devotee wants to develop. It is said in the beginning, when we are a new devotee, we see the external of prasadam. Oh, this is my favorite, or this looks good, or this much quantity I should have. But as a devotee advances, he sees the quality of prasadam. How the prasadam has been cooked, the consciousness of the cook has entered the prasadam. How the prasadam has been offered. The consciousness of the offerer enters the prasadam. So 4 categories of people affect the quality of prasadam. The cook, the person who offers, sometimes it's the same person who cooks, it can be different person. Then the person who serves prasadam. And then finally the person who honors prasadam. So this is spiritual eating. Material eating means annamoy consciousness. That's the lowest consciousness. Even animals, everyone is eating. The tongue is most voracious. But what is spiritual eating? Then what is spiritual shelter? So Prabhupada says there is material tendency of sleeping, but he mentions there is spiritual shelter. Materially people take shelter of sleep. Oh, I have worked so hard. Now I take shelter of sleep. But then we see the lives of pure devotees, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, they were barely speaking, or Srila Prabhupada. It's mentioned about Raghunath Das Goswami. He would sleep maybe 1.5 hours. That too, some days he couldn't because he was busy in his devotional service and sadhana. So how is that possible? They were actively engaged on the spiritual level. So that is spiritual shelter. They have taken shelter of something higher, so they don't have to take shelter of something lower. Then spiritual shelter, spiritual eating, spiritual protection, defense. What's that? That is our depending on Krishna. We recently heard about Ambarish Maharaj. What was his spiritual defense system? He was totally surrendered to Krishna. And when Durvasa Muni created a demon to kill him, he was not worried. He was, although he was ruling the whole world, but he was not depending on his arsenal of, ammunition, nuclear weapons. He was not depending on that. He was depending on Krishna. And then we saw what happened. Krishna protected him. So that's the spiritual defense system. And then what is spiritual sense gratification? Spiritual sense gratification is gratifying Krishna's senses. We want to become direct gratifiers. It's not possible. Because that example is given in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. When you water the root of the tree, all the parts of the tree become nourished by that water. Yatha taror mool nishechanena tripyanti tat skand bhujopashaka. You water the root of the tree, the whole tree becomes nourished. So in the same way, when we try to gratify senses of Krishna, we are part of Krishna. Our senses will be gratified. Our senses are not our senses. Our senses are part of Krishna's senses. Krishna says, Sarvata pani padota sarvatokshi shiro mukham. That my hands, legs, eyes are everywhere. What does that mean? In one place Prabhupada explained, which means our eyes are actually Krishna's eyes. So it belongs to him. It's not ours. So that is spiritual sense gratification. So if we try to satisfy Krishna, we will be fully satisfied. And all we can try to satisfy our senses, we will never be satisfied. And in the same shloka, where it says, water the root, another example, who knows? Yes, put the food in the stomach and the whole body is nourished. You can try and put food, Prabhupada says, in any other hole. There are 9 holes in the body. It will be very difficult situation. Then they have to come to Mahatma Prabhu, doctor like him, that we are in trouble. We try to put food in some different hole other than mouth. So this is unnatural process of direct trying to satisfy our senses directly. It's not possible. So people like Ravana, they make others cry throughout their life, and then when they die, people are still crying, and they are all never satisfied, and they, die a miserable death. So this is the example given in Bhagavatam that we shouldn't follow. So actually, one time Prahladanand Maharaj in his class, he was saying, we can learn from everyone. Whether someone is a devotee or a demon, we can learn from everyone. For those who are devotees, we can learn what to do. From those who are demons, we can learn what not to do. So we can learn from everyone, from others' mistakes. That's an intelligent person who learns from others' mistakes. That's first-class intelligence, by hearing from Shastra how people's actions, positive actions lead to positive consequences and negative actions lead to misery. Just by hearing that, if we mold our lives in a way to follow Shastra, then our lives are perfect. So this example of Lord Ramachandra and the death of Ravana, it happens again and again, as we were saying. So the demoniac forces increase in the world. They try to become more and more powerful and try to exploit others. And when it increases to a very big level, then one of the incarnations comes to destroy that. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So recently, couple of days back, I went to a doctor, and he's from Indian Mauritian origin. So he was asking some questions about of different avatars. He said, in your ISKCON, do you celebrate appearance of other avatars? Because I told him the Janmashtami, Krishna's appearance, Krishna's birthday is coming. So he said, do you celebrate appearance of other avatars? So I was saying, yes, we celebrate Ramanavami, then appearance of Lord Nrsimha, Vamana Dev, Varaha Dev, like that, few avatars we do celebrate. But then he said, what about other avatars? You don't celebrate about the appearance of other avatars? Because we hear that there are the 10 Dashavatara, they are the main ones. But how many avatars are there? There's not enough days in the year to celebrate the appearance of so many avatars. So I gave him the example which is given in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam first canto. Avataraya asankhyeya. There is no limit to the number of avatars. They come as the waves of an ocean come. You can't count the number of waves which are coming. In the same way, the avatars are coming. There's so many avatars. There are Yuga avatars, there are Leela avatars, Shaktavesh avatars, then Kalpa avatars, Guna avatars. There's no limit. In each category there are so many. So we are only supposed to recognize and discuss about the 22, I think, avatars which are given in the first canto. That's all is needed. Otherwise, there is no end. So as much as possible, we stick to our standard books. For us, Prabhupada has given our standard books. He has mentioned these 4 books: Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Nectar of Devotion, and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada said, if you master these 4 books, you can go anywhere in the world and you can preach. So everything required for our own spiritual development and perfection and for outreach, everything is given in these 4 books. And of course, we read Nectar of Instruction and Ishopanishad. And Krishna book is a part of, this is a summary of 10th canto, and teachings of Lord Chaitanya is there. So these are the main books we focus on as main study. And then there's other supplementary books. So main study should be our main meal. And then there's some other side dishes, which is okay also. Prabhupada's other books and Prabhupada's disciples and grand disciples' books. But these books are the main study. We cannot substitute these books by any other book. This is our main study material. So if we get all the information from here, we can see these avatars are coming, and they are coming to establish the principles of religion. So demons become more and more powerful, and they try to create havoc in this world. And then devotees get empowered by Krishna to spread this spiritual knowledge. Kali kalera dharma Krishna naam sankirtan, Krishna shakti vina nahe tara pravartan. Prabhupada used to quote this verse so many times, especially the second line. Krishna shakti vina nahe tara pravartan. You cannot spread the glories of Krishna without his empowerment. It's not possible. So preaching is not an easy thing. We don't have the capacity. Krishna has to empower us, and we have to beg for that empowerment. Otherwise, what's remaining? If we don't beg the empowerment to spread Krishna's name, so what is remaining for a devotee? There's only attempt for sense gratification remaining. So especially this city life pushes us, pulls us down, tries to pull us down to sense gratification. City life is based on sense gratification. Prabhupada says in his purports that the countryside or the forest is in mode of goodness, city is mainly in mode of passion, and the parts of city where there is liquor shops, prostitution and meat eating, which is pretty much everywhere, that is in mode of ignorance. So city is basically mode of passion and ignorance, where we try to enjoy in a barbaric way. So in the countryside also, those who are not devotees, they are also trying to enjoy, but in a clean way, so-called. Comparatively, it's all relative. But city definitely is a very barbaric type of attempt for sense gratification. Air is polluted, water is polluted, people's thoughts are polluted. So if we think we are living in this city, I don't know, around 15 years back, I used to see the news that Melbourne was considered it was ranked the most livable city for, I think, consecutive 5 years or something. Does anyone follow that? Which is the most livable city at the moment? Does anyone know? No? No, I haven't seen recently, but it used to be. Melbourne is one of the most livable cities. Vancouver, Melbourne, and some other cities like that. So if we think we are very happy living in Melbourne, which means we are trying to get higher standard of sense gratification, which is totally against this philosophy of Krishna consciousness. We are how to please Krishna. That should be the main goal of a devotee. Those who have come from other countries, and when they speak to their relatives, and they say, "Oh, you are living in that city, that country," and there is a pleasure in the heart of people who have made it to this country. But according to Shastra, if you see through the eyes of Shastra, it's a hellish place. So Prabhupada had a television interview, right? The reporter asked, "Swamiji, in your philosophy, is there a conception of hell?" And this was in London. So Prabhupada said, "Yes, London is hell." And then sarcastically he again said, "But still I admire you. In a place where there is no sunrise for 10 months, you have still made such a civilization," which was also a sarcastic criticism. The place where sun doesn't rise is very hellish. Without sun, a normal life cannot be lived. So anyway, all these metropolitan cities around the world, they are actual places of hell. And if we think we are there and we are trying to enjoy, so that's the big problem. So we have to correct that mentality. So what should be the only goal of living in a city? Anyone knows? Yes. And spreading Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, preach or plow. If you are in the city, you basically either directly try to reach out to people or assist others, those who are doing, or if you're not trying to, help in outreach, then better live a peaceful and clean life in the countryside. Preach or plow. And, Prabhupada had this vision of having a temple in the city and having a farm nearby, like we have our Hare Krishna Valley. There we can grow vegetables, fruits, grain, and have cows, and have pure protected cow milk for the city temple. And in the city, the temple should be based on outreach through Harinam Sankirtan, book distribution, and prasad distribution. So if we are not actively a part of that, then there's only one thing: sense gratification and increase of greed. And that's for our greater and greater fall down. So we have to actually be very proactive and introspective regularly, daily. When we chant, we have to reassess our goals. What is our goal? Krishna, oh Radharani, please engage me in your service. And that is the Hare Krishna mantra. Otherwise, there is only Maya's service. We have to serve someone, either Krishna or Maya. So that's our choice. So here, Ravana is showing a perfect example of what that we should not do. So I wanted to discuss one verse from 11th canto. It's a beautiful verse spoken by Kar Bhajan Muni, where 3 avatars are mentioned in one verse. So it goes like this: Tyaktva sudustyaja surepsita rajya lakshmim dharmeshta arya vachasa yadagadharanyam maya mrigam daitayepsitam anvadhavat vande mahapurushate charanaravindam. So in the translation, the disciples of Prabhupada have given translation referring to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but then in the commentary, in the purport, they mention that Acharyas have commented that this verse also can refer to Krishna and Lord Ramachandra. So in the translation it says like this: O Mahapurusha, I worship your lotus feet. You gave up the association of the goddess of fortune and all her opulence, which is most difficult to renounce. So this is referring to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he renounced his household life where he was enjoying. He had the most beautiful wife, and he was very well known as a teacher of grammar, Sanskrit grammar. He was popular as Nimai Pandit. So he left all that. He renounced, and he is hankered after by even great demigods. Being the most faithful follower of the path of religion, you thus left for the forest in obedience to a Brahmana's curse. Out of sheer mercifulness, you chased after the fallen conditioned souls who are always in pursuit of false enjoyment of illusion. So here in the verse, the word mentioned is anvadhavat, running after or chasing. So Acharyas have given meaning for that word in different ways. So for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it means he was chasing after fallen people who were engrossed in material enjoyment. So Mahaprabhu, in his preaching work, he went throughout South India and he converted everyone into Vaishnavism. So that's the meaning of running, anvadhavat. And then for Lord Ramachandra, it says Lord Ramachandra went after that deer, Maya Mrigam, that word is also there. So for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Maya Mrigam, or that deer, Mrigam, is actually explained in a way that the people who are in Maya, they are like animals. They are like, so Mahaprabhu chased after these two-legged animals to make them devotees. And then Lord Ramchandra ran after this deer who was Maricha, I think, who appeared as a golden deer, and Sita said, she wanted that deer. And then for Krishna, it is said he became controlled by his pure devotees in Braj, and he became like a toy animal or a doll in their hands, because Krishna becomes conquered by his devotees. And he went to the forest. Which forest? He went to Vrindavan. So there's different meanings given. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the forest in the sense he took sannyas. Lord Ramachandra went to the forest to chase that deer, and Krishna went from Gokul to Vrindavan. So like that, this beautiful verse mentions these 3 incarnations, and so many other incarnations are given. But for us, we are in International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So we focus mainly on Krishna. So that's our main focus. And all the other incarnations are there. They are basically within the body of Krishna. All other incarnations are present. It's difficult to understand. That's why this whole avatar science is given in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and further in books like Laghu Bhagavatamrita. This science of avatars is mentioned in detail. Sometimes Hindus who don't have knowledge of scriptures, they tell others, we have many gods. We have many gods. But our family worships this particular god. And then when we start developing this knowledge of Shastra, we say, no, there is one God. Others are demigods. But then we see there are many gods, in the sense Lord Ramchandra is God, Vishnu is God, Krishna is God, Nrsimha Dev is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what's going on? Again, there is confusion. Is there one God or many gods? So just yesterday someone sent me a question. They were reading from 10th canto. In the summary of one chapter it says, Lord Brahma went to the shore of milk ocean, and within his heart he heard the instruction of Mahavishnu. And then in the translation of one verse, it's written, he heard the instruction of Kshirodakshai Vishnu. So he was confused, what's happening here? Why is these different things mentioned? So all these incarnations are one person, but they appear in different ages, in a different form, to please a particular devotee. Different devotees want to see a different form of the Lord. Like in relation to Krishna and Vishnu, it is said, Krishna is God at home and Vishnu is God at work. So it's the same person, but when the person goes at work, he's acting very officially, very formally. But when he's at home, he's very relaxed with his intimate family members. He will act in a different way. So that's how there's the same person, but he appears in different forms and exhibits different degree of his power and opulence. That's all. So it's not difficult to understand. So if Mahavishnu speaks something from within the heart, or Kshirodakshai Vishnu speaks, it's the same person speaking. As we say, the Chaitya Guru from within the heart, God speaks from within the heart. So is it Krishna or Kshirodakshai Vishnu? Yes, technically it's Kshirodakshai Vishnu within the heart of every living entity. But for devotees, it's Krishna speaking directly from within the heart. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. So when Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that I give knowledge from within the heart, so we can't say, oh, it's Kshirodakshai Vishnu in the heart. So how come Krishna is saying he's giving? It's the same person, but they're acting in different ways, different expansions. So that's the learning here. If we try to enjoy this world, we cannot be happy. If we try to give pleasure to Krishna, we'll be happy. It's a very strange thing. So one example I wanted to give was when kids are young, they start to speak. So the first thing they learn, parents want others to show that, that, oh, my child has started to speak this, whatever, a poem or some, song or something. Or and devotee parents, of course, they say, oh, see, my child has learned this kirtan, and they, try that. So that's the purified version. But in the material life, kids, they say, poem or a song, because these are the two most attractive things according to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. What keeps us bound in this world? Anyone remembers? I think it's in 6th canto. Two things which bind us the most in this world. Any guesses? Rishabdev also speaks about this. Well, but what specifically? That's right, that's right. So that's the second thing. First thing, how it starts is attraction between male and female. So there it's written, how a person is thinking, a mentality of a materially engrossed householder, family man. He's thinking, oh, how can I leave the secluded talks with my wife? How can I leave this small child who speaks in this broken language? That broken language, which materially doesn't make any sense, that captures the heart of parents. So when that child in broken language learns something, parents are very happy. They want to show everyone. So in my case, what I was learning, my parents told everyone, our son can recite some jokes. So I had a small notepad. I would write some jokes, and whenever we would visit some family, friends, or relatives, and my parents would say, oh, he knows some jokes. And then I would open my small notepad and I'll recite. So I still remember some of those jokes because I did so much repetition in early childhood. I wish I would have learned some shlokas at that time. But anyway, so one joke which I remember, which can be linked to Krishna consciousness, is related to today's topic. So the joke was, one person, very weak person, he was riding on a bike, and a strong bodybuilder, a bully, stops him. He's a poor man with just a bike and few possessions. And this strong man comes and stops him. And he says, get off the bike. And so the person is shivering and he gets off the bike. And he draws the strong man draws a circle, small circle of the size of this mat. And he says, stand within this circle. You can't come out, and you watch me break your bike. I'll break your bike and your other possessions in front of you, and you watch it. He was just a big bully. And he breaks his bike, just smashes it totally, and he leaves. And some other people were watching also. They were like very sad. What happened to this poor guy, weak poor guy? He's malnutrition and had few possessions, and that too was broken. But this person who was standing in the circle, he's ecstatic. He's laughing, and after that, strong man leaves. And other people say, why are you so happy? He just broke your bike, everything is gone. He said, oh, you can't understand, I'm very happy, I'm ecstatic. They couldn't understand why. Please tell us why. He said, when he was breaking my bike, he asked me not to step outside the circle, but couple of times I stepped out of the circle. That's my happiness. So that's us. That's us. We are so bound by material nature. We are getting kicks of Maya, but one drop of happiness we get. We are, yes, we did it. We conquered. We have come to Melbourne, the most livable city. Yes, we have made it. Meanwhile, Maya is just smashing us. Right, left, and center, as they say, top and bottom. But we are happy. No, I got some momentary happiness. And I will get some momentary happiness. So I am happy. So at least one joke I could dovetail in Krishna consciousness. So I think about like that many times. So do we want to become like Ravanas, or do we want to follow Shastra and become Krishna's followers of Krishna's instruction? So that's up to us. So I would end there and ask if you have any questions or comments by Radha Krishna Prabhu, any corrections. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you mentioned that to be able to go back home, back to Godhead, one of the factors is that we have to be completely free of our material desires. So is it that I sometimes wonder that by reading, chanting, performing devotional service, will that take us to that point where we're completely freed of our material desires? Or do we have to go through some suffering to completely understand, yeah, now is the time to get free of material desires? Because when I see for myself, getting rid of the material desires sometimes is very difficult and sometimes seems to be impossible.
So go through some suffering means voluntarily take up some extra austerity.
Yeah, sometimes Krishna will guide us by giving us a little jerk.
That will be there. But we don't have to voluntarily go for it. I think one time some disciple, it was cold, he was walking without slippers or something, and something like that. Prabhupada said, why do you take extra austerity? There is already austerity designed within the material framework. So we don't have to take extra austerity or penance. That's not our process. Our process is the 9 processes of bhakti. So just by doing that, we can go back to Godhead. And material sufferings and material pleasure will come, but we don't have to artificially or voluntarily endeavor for that. It will be there, and we have to tolerate material misery, and we have to tolerate material happiness also. We don't have to get elated when material happiness comes, and we don't have to become depressed when material misery comes. So we just have to view from outside. We just see that we are not the body. Things are happening to our mind and body. We don't have to take it very seriously. At the same time, we try to deal with it as much as possible, but not more than that. We shouldn't spend more time. Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido, that verse by Narad Muni, that misery comes by its own accord based on our past karma, and in the same way happiness will come. But one who is intelligent, he doesn't waste his time to get extra happiness or trying to waste his time to counteract misery. He just spends his remaining time for Krishna consciousness, and that is enough for, for us to go back. Okay.
Chanting and devotional service does help us to that point where we are complete.
Yes, Prabhupada says all of my followers should read my books 1 to 2 hours every day. And in some place, I think one devotee told me, Prabhupada also mentions 3 hours a day. I haven't seen that, but one devotee said he read somewhere, and for many years he was reading 3 hours, and now he gives many classes somewhere. So anyway, reading regularly as much as possible, chanting minimum 16 rounds, following 4 regulative principles, and morning program, evening program, Prabhupada's sandwich, ISKCON sandwich, morning program, then in the middle of the day, some service, then the evening program. This is the ISKCON sandwich. If you eat that in a healthy way, we will go back to Godhead. This is the most nutritious meal, most nutritious spiritual meal, ISKCON sandwich. Morning program, day's activities, devotional activities, and the evening program. And Prabhupada says, read Krishna book, drink hot milk, sleep, morning Mangal Aarti, that's it. The 9th verse of Guru Ashtakam, which we sing in the morning, there is a 9th verse. Ashtakam means 8 verses, but the 9th, sometimes Ashtakams have 9th verse, which glorifies the 8 verses. So there is a 9th verse of Guru Ashtakam, which says that if every day you sleep and wake up in the morning and see the Lord in Mangal Arati, so when you go for that sleep, which is called death, you will wake up in the spiritual world and see Krishna. So very beautiful. So when we sleep, we wake up, we come for Mangal Arati, see Krishna here in the deity form. So when we die, the body, is useless. Then when we wake up, we will see Krishna in spiritual world. That's the 9th verse. That's back to Godhead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare.
How do you improve chanting holy name?
How to improve chanting is, one devotee told me, I asked the same question, and he said the problem is, we see our 2 hours of chanting, and the rest of the day as separate. That I have chanted, and now it's my normal life. So basically, if we see that connection, then we can improve chanting and all other activities also. Because when we are chanting, if we focus on the meaning of it, that, oh Radharani, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. And then during the day, we try to engage our senses and mind and words in Krishna's service. So it's all connected. So that way, our day's activities can feed into the better chanting, and better chanting would feed into better day's activities. So it's like a nectarian loop, like that. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, we'll end here. Thank you very much. Granthra Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.